Greetings fencers, this is a companion video to a workshop I gave at Battleborn this year about 3D movement and offline footwork with some sparring examples. So first, why move offline? Well, one reason, we do not want to run into a sword. Second, when you move offline, you move the center line, making them have to use a deeper parry or even breaking through and hitting, especially if they're still looking at the old center line. This is the dominant position in striking arts, and they have to adjust their body and footwork to you. And we're also given advice in 3227A. He also means that you should not step straight in with the strikes, but from the side at an angle so that you can come in from the side where you can reach him easier than from the front. Now why don't we always do this? Because the further we step to his side, the less distance we cover. As my foot steps further right, I get further and further away. Now I have already made a video about many of our footwork drills, with and without a sword, and you can find it here. Now first, we're going to look at the stance. There are bladed stances, and if you're going forwards and backwards a lot, you will end up morphing into this. It has fast movement forwards and a fast lunge. However, a squared stance is what allows even motion all four directions, and immediate stability when entering wrestling or strong binds. To drill this, you can draw or tape a 1 meter square, then an X through it. Staying on the diagonal lines or corners, you can practice advancing steps, passing steps, triangle steps, and start mixing them into different patterns. Now 3 warm-up drills we did to prepare. First was our basic distance management. Find the distance where you can high-five your partner with a passing step, arms straight and hand leading. The leader moves you around and you try and keep the same distance. Then when the hands come up, high five. And the same can be done with a sword. Next, we put a mask in between us, and we're not only managing forward distance, but also left and right. Not getting closer to the mask and staying across from our partner. One person leading and getting practice with both feet leading going each direction. It is always easier to go in the direction of the front foot. And third is the full turn or deep triangle step. Making a passing step, then rotating to look behind you. Then making a stable turn to look forwards again, and repeat. So after we've made an attack, instead of going straight back and having to stop our momentum and push backwards, we can instead use our momentum in our follow-up attacks and go past them. We make our usual passing step, then our left foot goes diagonally off in a direction we want to go, alternating feet, and using that full turn we just practiced. So here we go off to the left, and rotate our hips so that we're facing where we used to be. And the same will happen if we want to go off to the right. We make the same passing step, then our left foot goes behind us, and we continue out of distance. We can also retreat diagonally back by just not stepping as far with our left foot. We just pick diagonally left or diagonally right. This, however, doesn't get to utilize our momentum. And practice all these steps after making an attack with your left foot too. And if you think this is just fancy fencing footwork, it is actually used in wrestling too. Here is the full turn getting used in an outside 2-on-1 hold, exact same footwork, and here is Fiore's first grappling play showing off the same footwork in the other direction. Then we add that into our distance management drill, where you have the freedom to retreat any 4 directions, trying to keep constant motion. And then we add sword motions to those. The leader starts in long point, then brings their sword to their shoulder, which triggers us to cut. They parry, and from here we use our offline footwork and cut around with any cut we would like. But a thwart is one of the best, which allows a quick third cut as well. When going right, once we cut and they parry, we wrench their sword to the side and cut from the right again as we step. Again, multiple cuts can be used, but wrenching like a crooked cut, then transitioning to a thwart cut is my favorite. Then we add it to distance management, using the long point to Fomtag trigger. Then we practice these motions when someone is closing into us. Both fencers cut and step in. One person is just going to apply pressure and walk forward, and we can use the same motions as before. We just don't have to cover a large distance now, and need to be stable. Finally, our last set of drills which are for practicing stable footwork and not distance management. The follower is going to hold the stick or sword in two hands, and the leader holds with one hand in the middle. What the leader does, the follower has to react to it with footwork. He's feeling the pressure change and following and moving with the leader. And it's good practice to not go straight backwards more than 2 steps in a row. And it is a footwork drill, so there should never be a time when the leader pushes forward and the follower is standing still pushing back. Anytime you feel off balance or your structure break, then it means you were unprepared for the movement change, and that's the general form that we want to improve. Now for the leader, we can also start to practice how to control someone else with footwork. This is difficult to teach in a video. In boxing, it can be referred to as cutting off the ring. We always make small steps off to the side in order to carve the direction we want them to go, always stepping with our foot further than theirs, our right foot to the right, and our left foot further left than theirs. As you develop this skill, you will start controlling and pressuring people even before the swords touch. And as the follower, we can also practice the triangle steps we had been working on. When the leader pushes hard, then we step behind and rotate our hips, making our torso face the side, and this pulls them off balance. Let each person have turns where they get to practice, and then later have versus rounds where both people practice, like one person trying to pin the other in the corner while the other tries to get to the center. Here are some sparring examples of retreating offline different directions. You'll notice it won't always look the same, depending on the context or sword movement you need to do, so at times you'll add advancing or half steps throughout the motion. What matters is that we pick a direction and rotate the hip. The details don't make or break it.